So now we have the bipartisan group of governors that are beginning to look at the next proposed relief package, which is going to be what they're saying is going to be at the amount of about $3 trillion. And they're talking about how this is quickly becoming a political football, as they like to put it. And the fact that they're referring to it as a political football should tell you that it's complete nonsense. Because what they're trying to do now is pit states against states. You have states like Texas, Georgia, some of the Midwestern states who have the governors and the state legislatures have been managing their states in such a way that they've been fiscally responsible and they haven't necessarily been relying on the federal government for bailouts. And I live in New Jersey and I see firsthand what is going on when it comes to the bailouts that Murphy and Cuomo and de Blasio are demanding from the federal government. New Jersey was in horrible fiscal shape long before the coronavirus came about. And now they want the federal government to bail out mismanaged states at the expense of states that have actually been managing themselves in a fiscally responsible manner. And this should completely infuriate every single member of any state in this country that has been managed correctly, because it's not up to the taxpayers from Midwestern states, from Georgia, from Texas, from other states around the country to bail out states like New Jersey and New York, California and Illinois, who have been mismanaging their states for years, if not decades. So now we have an article here from The Hill. Governors warn COVID-19 relief is becoming a political football. The bipartisan chairs of the National Governors Association on Wednesday urged Congress to pass more economic relief efforts to help assuage the damage caused by the coronavirus pandemic, warning against allowing debate over the vital aid to become yet another partisan flashpoint. So think about this. We are coming upon another $3 trillion relief bill. And you can go back to one of my previous videos I did back when this was beginning, and you can look at just how much crap is being shoved into these bills. The Democrats are having a field day filling coronavirus relief package bills with crap. And it's just a spending frenzy, and nobody's going to care, because the second that somebody says, I don't necessarily agree with a $3 trillion relief bill, they're going to be shamed into saying, oh, well, I guess you don't care about the people that have coronavirus. I guess you don't care about the people that are in the hospital sick and people that are dying and their family members that are obviously, rightfully upset by the fact that, their families are sick. But going against a relief package like this does not mean that you don't care about the people that are sick. It means that you want to see money and funds being spent correctly and not having relief package bills shoved with crap by the Democrats. That should be what's offending people. Not the fact that we're questioning government. What should be offending people is the fact that government is taking advantage of us and using the coronavirus as a way to do so. That's what people should be upset about right now. Not the fact that we are questioning how the government is managing this crisis. It says in a joint statement, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan and New York Governor Andrew Cuomo said states need at least $500 billion in aid to make up for revenues lost during the COVID crisis. And nobody's questioning the fact that why weren't these states better prepared? They've done drills and they've done all sorts of exercises in New York City for terrorist-related incidents, for possible pandemics, for bioterrorism, all these different things that they've done in the past, and they're not prepared to handle an outbreak of a virus that some are saying is akin to the flu. They're not prepared for that, and now they need $500 billion as a bailout because they couldn't get their shit together long before this crisis ever struck. It says each day that Congress fails to act, states are being forced to make cuts that will devastate the essential services the American people rely on and destroy the economic recovery before it even gets off the ground, said Hogan and Cuomo. Maybe if the states weren't so focused on pseudo-intellectual, social justice warrior programs and nonsensical crap that they spend their money on, and they actually allocated their resources and their funds to things that would actually help the people in times of need, then they wouldn't be sitting here looking for a $500 billion bailout to make up for lost revenue. It says, with widespread bipartisan agreement on the need for assistance, we cannot afford a partisan process that turns this urgent relief into another political football. This is not a red state or blue state crisis. This is a red, white, and blue pandemic. So now they're trying to put the emotional spin on it and say it's a red, white, and blue pandemic. No, it's not a red, white, and blue pandemic. It's a pandemic that affected different parts of the country differently. And it's a pandemic that parts of the country are recovering from faster and better because they were better prepared for it. The tri-state area, New York and New Jersey and Connecticut, we are the most densely populated area in the country. They rake in more taxes from us in New Jersey and New York than other areas of the country, some states combined. And they can't manage those funds to better prepare for a crisis. And now they're threatening that they're going to have to start laying off essential workers, like police, fire, EMS, to make cuts to police, fire, EMS, doctors, and different things like that. Maybe if they weren't funding, like I said, pseudo-intellectual social justice warrior crap, maybe if they weren't funding that nonsense, they would have money to fund actual necessary resources. The coronavirus is apolitical. It does not attack Democrats or Republicans. It attacks Americans, they said. So again, they're trying to put an emotional spin on it now. And they're going to say, if you don't agree with this $500 billion bailout, that you want the firefighters and the police officers to get laid off, and you want doctors to go away, and you want people to die. That's what they're going to come back with now. And we need to get past this, the exploitation of this crisis as a means to shame anyone who questions what government is doing. House Democrats on Tuesday unveiled a sweeping $3 trillion aid package that includes $916 billion in funding for state, local, and tribal governments. Maybe if we at the state level weren't giving practically all of our money to the federal government in DC and getting back maybe 50 cents on the dollar when at the end of the day, and we kept the money in-house, we wouldn't be begging the federal government for bailouts. This right here is an argument for states' rights. It's an argument for keeping the states independent of the federal government for the most part and fiscally responsible to themselves. Because if the states were focused on the states instead of giving all our money to the federal government, then the states, if they mismanage things, it's the state's fault, and they have no means and no leverage to go to the federal government and request a bailout. Republicans have been critical of what they call bailouts to Democrat-led states, some of which face the steepest budget holes. Exactly. New Jersey was screwed up long before the coronavirus struck. Murphy's been in office now for, a couple years? And he hasn't done a damn thing. All he's been doing is making up laws and different things that, to give financial aid to illegal immigrant students and to give handouts to people who are here in this country illegally. Maybe if we focused more on the citizens and not so much on the people who are here illegally, then maybe we would be in a little bit better shape and we would have a little more money. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell called the measure, quote, exactly the wrong approach. McConnell wants to see state and local aid coupled with legislation that would indemnify businesses that are allowed to reopen from lawsuits related to the coronavirus. And there you have it. They are exploiting this coronavirus now as a means to bail out the states. And everybody needs to wake up to this. Everybody needs to see what's going on here and understand that no matter what kind of emotional spin they put on it, they are exploiting the states that are run properly to bail out the states that are not run properly.